Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Nick, this is Sarah, our two little doggies are down there, Dizzee and Charlie, and we have actually been in lockdown for the last 7 weeks here in Spain, and this is the first time we've been in our van together for that long.
Yeah, it's been really strict here, as we've mentioned in our previous vlogs, and today we're actually allowed out together for 1 hour up to 1 kilometre once a day for a walk or exercise, basically.
Well, exercise, if you want to go on your bicycle, skateboard, roller skates, anything like that, it has to be done singularly. You can't go with
alone.
a member from your household.
Or you go for a run, that has to be done alone. So, but just a walk, we're allowed to take the dogs and we're allowed to be together, and we also have to wear masks.
And where we live, because our village is less than 5,000 inhabitants population, there's no time slot. If you live in a larger village or town, then there's time slots depending on your age.
Yeah, so for example, if we lived in a town any bigger than the one that we live in, we would only be allowed to go out between 6 AM and 10 AM, and then there's a short slot in the evening as well, and then elderly people are from sort of 10 till 12, so on and so forth. So, but we're really happy because, I mean, it's not a major thing, is it? 1 kilometre away from our house once a day, but it's a major thing for us who have been in a really strict lockdown for the last 7 weeks. So we're excited to get our little walk underway today. We've planned it out. We've been on Google Maps and worked out exactly where we're allowed to go from the house. We've got a little route planned, but right now we've come to the van to just get all excited and pretend we're off somewhere, even though we're not. We're just here for a few minutes before we shoot off on the walk.
Yeah, it's so exciting to be back in the van, back in our Vinny, but it does feel a bit strange because we feel like we're not supposed to be here. We've got all the curtains up, which is why it's probably a bit dark. Sorry about the low light, dodgy camera. We've
just got one window open because we're still kind of being a bit like, you know, not advertising the fact that we're you know, sat in a camper van.
So I don't think we're really supposed to just be sat in
People might think we're away on our holidays or whatnot.
It's not really exercising that.
No.
So anyway, so we're going to keep this fairly quick, but we are really excited to be back in Vinny. We're just looking around. We haven't been in for like 7 weeks. We're looking around. We bought a few things. There's a few little jobs we want to do in here.
Yeah.
On the jobs on the outside, like rust and new stickers and things like that, we may have to leave for a bit.
Yeah, but we can get on with a few jobs in here over the next sort of coming weeks and just get it all spruced up inside. Like, for example, we want to put a new blind on. That one's knackered. We've got some new electric points, some new USB sockets and some 12-volt sockets to add here and there that we've already got.
Really excited about that, even though we're way behind. You know, we've been on 2 massive trips and we haven't got our electric sorted until recently. We've also our lighting as well. We've taken out the kitchen light, taken out the high energy spotlight we had, and we've replaced it with LEDs.
Yes, but we didn't really know what we were doing, and we decided to put a whole strip of LEDs. So, I mean, it's quite light now, but I'll just show you how bright it is. If you just stand up a second. Here we go. So this way, I'll just shut this even better effect. And then we have our LEDs. It's like a kind of film studio. Really good for filming, actually, because it's probably much better light when it's dark in the van. But obviously this is way too much and uses way too much power.
It's also like security. It's a bit blinding as well. If someone breaks into the van, it's pitch black, hit that, they'll be blinded.
Yeah. So we need to, obviously we're going to cut that down and just add certain strips around with the connectors and things like that. So yeah, we've got a few little jobs. Like I say, we've got wires hanging out where we're going to add our new sockets. And just spruce him up a bit. Spruce him up, change that blind, and just fix a few little things that have broken. So that's where we're at.
Because we've only got an hour today and it's our first time out the house. We're not going to do any jobs on Vinny. We're going to go down the river. And I don't know which we're more excited about, being back in Vinny or actually going down our lovely river. We're going to take you on that walk in a minute. I know the dogs are really excited. They totally need a run out.
But one job we are going to do before we leave is we're going to put this shade over the solar panels. It's gone really hot here. It's like summer has just kicked in. It's like 30 degrees today. It's forecast to be the same for the rest of the week, and we don't want these solar panels to get too hot. Obviously when you're away traveling in the van and exploring, you need all the power you can get, but when the van's just sat here, plus we've never actually stayed in the van with solar panels on the roof here in the summer. We always go up north and escape the heat because it gets so hot here. So we're going to cover them up And this is like a part, this will give it like a tiny bit of sun still, so it'll keep the batteries topped up, not block it out completely, but it also keep yeah, a lot of the really strong rays out, if that makes sense. So that should protect it from getting too hot on the roof. I mean, if we had somewhere to park in the shade, obviously we would, but we don't. This is in direct sun pretty much all day. And with temperatures getting into their 30s, we don't want to like risk the roof catching on fire or something, you know? It's so hot out there. It really is hot, and it's only like 10 AM.
And it's really hot in the van as well, so I think we need to get down that river to give the dogs a little run out. But while we go for the walk, we thought we'd just actually answer some of the questions we missed on the live feed, because it was our first live feed and there was so many of you on there asking so many questions, which was really nice. But we didn't get a chance to answer them all.
Yeah, so and some of them are really good questions as well. So we've made a note of the questions and we're going to answer a few today. In fact, we've got 2 questions, I think, to answer while we're in the van because they're van related. So you can answer them when I just put Vinny's protection against the summer up.
So first question from Pet Cat Rio, and she asks, how many kilometres has Vinny done? Well, to answer that, we don't actually know because the clock resets when it gets to 100,000.
That's how old the van actually is, and the paperwork that we have with the van isn't kind of complete, if you know what I mean. So we don't really know. We think
probably about 200 and something thousand. He has had a new engine at some point.
Yeah. So unfortunately, we don't actually know much history on the van. All we know that is he, you know, keeps going.
Even though he's a warrior, he's a soldier, he's taken us on 2 trips and it will take us on more. So next question on the same sort of subject to do with Vinny from Kate Mistruzzi, and she asks, how long will Vinny last and will we keep him for? Well, we hope he's just going to keep on going and going. As long as there's no major issues and nothing really, really expensive, then we'll keep him. We'll
keep him as long as he keeps us, basically. And we hope that's for another, I don't know, 5 years, 10 years?
Well, all that depends on the 6-month thing as well. Because if we need to do a big trip and go further than 6 months will allow, we may have to upgrade. Yeah. But we love him. It's part of the family. So as long as we can. As long as we can keep him, we will.
But it's getting really hot in this van, so we're going to leave now and get these doggies and go for our nice walk. See you later, Vin!
See you, Vin. So, Jack May asks, houses like ours, our little house in Andalusia, little Spanish white village, are they easy to find? And to be honest, well, when we found ours, bought ours like 7-8 years ago, ours was the only one at like a really low price range. All the other houses we're looking at around this area were double. But yes, you can find them in little villages, more remote villages, you know, not as close to the coast.
And don't forget as well, ours needed completely re-renovating, so if you want to get something cheap, you're going to have to do a lot of work, but you can still definitely find places here in Spain.
Yeah, and little Spanish villages, cave houses are really popular in certain regions, so yeah, it is still possible. And lots of people have asked, what's the cost of like rent, buying properties, cost of living, all that sort of thing?
Again, this depends on the region that you want to be in. Anywhere touristy or near the coast, for example, is going to be a lot higher than a little village in the middle of nowhere.
So yeah, rent can vary from like 200 euros up to whatever, depending on, you know, if you want to live in a villa, that sort of thing. Cost of living, well, for certain things it's cheaper. Well, most things it's cheaper, which is why it's hard to travel outside of Spain.
Yeah, I'd say the cost of living here is very low compared to most of Europe. Things like council tax are really cheap. We pay 150 euros a year for council tax, for example.
The bins and water are about the same.
Yeah.
Don't know exactly. One thing that's more expensive is internet.
Yeah, your monthly broadband is going to cost you more than, say, for the UK, for example. I'm not sure about other countries to compare it to, but yeah, most things it is a cheaper way of living.
But for van life, petrol's one of the cheapest in Europe, and eating and drinking out is really cheap, so that's always nice.
So it's so hot today. Like I said, it's only about 10 AM, but we did plan to leave the house at sort of 8 o'clock, but they were going past and spraying all of the streets with disinfectant, and then it's kind of all wet. So we wanted to wait a couple of hours to let it all kind of dry, if you like, because we don't like to have the dogs walking on the disinfectant streets because we're not sure how harmful it is. So yes, now we're out and it just feels it's so hot today, isn't it? It's by far the hottest day we've had of the year, easily.
Yeah, the summer's well and truly landed, and I haven't really picked the right colour to be wearing.
In fact, because we weren't here last summer, this is probably the hottest day we've had since,
forever.
It was never this hot up in Norway and Scandinavia. So this is probably as hot as we've had it for about a year and a half today.
See, the thing is, we're
not used to it.
We love where we live, Andalusia, our little village. It's beautiful, but it's slightly inland. So in the summer, you really don't want to be here. July and August definitely do not want to be inland Spain.
Yeah.
The village where we live is just like a ghost town. And the last like 3 summers we've been away. We're in Portugal, and then the last 2 summers, the 2 big trips.
It's beautiful, and anything outside of July and August is okay and manageable. But when it's like 40 degrees plus on a daily basis for those 2 months, quite often it is very, very hard to sort of do anything,
So back to the questions. Quite a few people asked us what 2 places we'd go back to. That's too hard, isn't it?
In the world or in the van? In the van, I presume, yeah. It's too hard because you know what? We would actually go back to everywhere that we've been, every country, wouldn't we?
Pretty much everywhere.
Because I feel like everywhere we visited, there's still more to see, for sure.
See, we have major cases of FOMO. We can't just like drive through a country. We have to stop in as many beautiful places as possible, and whatever country we've been to, we've always like, oh God, if we had more time we could go there and there.
And then we find out that we've just missed somewhere. Oh, that was there. So constantly we have that. So I mean, pretty much everywhere we would go back and explore more, 100%.
Yeah. Okay, on a similar subject to that question, Anthony Craddock asks us, what are the top 5 places we've been to? Okay, if we have to pick in Europe,
it's too hard. I mean, Northern Italy, amazing.
Yes,
the
the
Dolomites.
I have to say Norway because it's just mind-blowing.
Norway's stunning. I mean, we really enjoyed Sweden, near Stockholm, the
Archipelago.
All of those islands. We definitely want to go back there and explore that some more, and kind of go when it's warm enough to go out on the SUP because it's just beautiful. There's too many. Poland, we love Poland.
Basically, yeah, like we said, every country we'd like to go back to. Italy is one of my favourite countries, and there's so much we didn't get to explore and missed out on.
Yeah, we just had to come down here because the boys are so hot, and they just were like, let's go down and get in the water. So back to the questions, and sometimes we wonder, or sometimes I wonder, has asked, would we go back to Norway? And I think we kind of just answered that. 100% yes. When we went to Norway, we only seen the very far north down to Trondheim. We did like the Arctic Circle down to Trondheim. We have not seen any of the south and none of the kind of West Fjordlands. So 100% we'll be going back to Norway.
And Kate Mistrizzi asks, why did we leave the UK? I think that sky probably says a lot of it. Yeah, the weather was a massive reason, because Spain has so much sun and everyone's a little bit happier in the sun. And another reason for me was just a relaxed way of life here. It's not about being in the rat race, it's not about materialism.
Can I just butt in here? Can I just butt in? The actual reason Nick left the UK was because of me. He wouldn't have left the UK, he'd still be there right now if it wasn't for me. Just saying. But all the reasons he's saying is why I left the UK in the first place. Sorry. It's true though, isn't it? It's true.
It's part of the reason I came out here. No, we love Spain, love the people, love the culture, love the lifestyle. Just everything about it. And if someone asked us what are our top 5 countries, the first one would have to be Spain. We may be biased, but it's got everything. It's got coastline, it's got mountains, it's got national parks, rivers, lakes, cheap, affordable travel.
And living.
And living. Yeah, we love it here.
The boys are absolutely loving the freedom. I mean, we've only got an hour and we're only allowed to go a kilometre, but luckily we've got all of this within 5 minutes walk from the house.
45 minutes already, darling.
Right, okay, we'll go a little bit further and then we'll have to start heading back.
Okay, because Sabi Solzar asked, would we go back to Sweden and Hungary? Well, I think we've already answered that about Sweden. Yes, we would. Hungary, we only went to briefly for a day. Just dipped our toes in from Austria. So on a future trip, Hungary, we will definitely be going to.
And can I just say, sorry if, oh gosh.
It's very tricky to walk.
It's uneven ground when you're filming. If we're pronouncing any of your names wrong, we do apologise about that. We'll just get that one in as well.
Mike French asks, how many hours a day do we spend editing?
Ooh.
Far too many. Well, on average, I don't know, what would you say? Probably 3 or 4.
On average, probably 3 or 4. I mean, we both do it, so that would be both of us editing. Well, Nick does more than I do. Depending,
obviously. Oh, this will answer the next question as well. So Broadsword 66 asks, how much filming do we take a day? So these are both relative. If you don't film much a day, you go for a walk, you don't film much of that walk, the editing part is really easy. If you just talk in a video, the editing part is really easy.
But we find it hard to do that, or Nick finds it hard to do that. We end up taking so much footage always. So yes, we spend a lot of time shooting and a lot of time editing. I'd say a video takes probably about, on average, 12 hours to make, would you?
Yeah.
Plus shooting. That's
but we love it. We love doing it.
So loads of people asked us in the live stream, are we planning or would we like to come over to the US? 100% definitely, we would love to do it. It's not going to happen for a little while yet because it will take a bit of planning. Obviously with the current situation it can't happen right now. But yeah, it's going to take a bit more planning. We wouldn't take our old van over, we'd kind of go over there and buy a vehicle there. And also we have to plan wisely with the dogs as well and getting them over there, so it does take a lot of planning, but definitely we will be over one day.
There's so many places in America we want to visit. Yeah. Oh my god.
And Canada, of course, we did a whole lot, and South America. We'd love to just come over there for a couple of years and do the whole thing.
And final question on this walk, we will show you the rest of this river walk on future videos,
yeah, but we're kind of running out of time for our hour and we want to like kind of enjoy the dogs playing. So the last question
is from Elaine Moore. And would we go back or would we go to Western Australia? Yes. That is another definite.
Yes.
We never got to go to the west because you have to drive for like 4,000 kilometres across another ball plane. Yeah. And in our old van, which we had at the time, Gretel, didn't fancy doing that.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a lot of Australia. We drove all the way through the centre. We've seen all of the east coast and the south, so we did a lot, but we definitely would love to go back to Australia, and we will be going back and doing the west coast and another whole loop as well of the rest of Australia. But anyway, now we're going to enjoy our little doggies having their freedom back and absolutely love running down here now they've cooled off in the river a little bit. Oh, I love watching the boys play, and Dizzee is like constantly rushing around chasing butterflies, and there's loads of little lizards down here, so he's kind of on the constant lookout for the lizards and going absolutely crazy. They're going to sleep so well for the rest of the day. Play nice, play nice.
Come on boys, let's go. Right, I think that's enough for a walk for today. Yeah, this loop walk carries on. You can do a 10k walk from here. There's a couple of shorter walks. We will show you those other walks or the rest of this one on a future video, as we're sort of limited to
our... so now we're allowed a little bit more freedom. We can show you kind of the surrounds and the areas
so beautiful
that we live.
We didn't even know this was here when we bought our house here, and then walked down here and we're like, wow, this is all right.
Yeah.
So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video.
Yes, thanks for watching everyone, and thanks for all those amazing questions. We have still got quite a few questions to answer, but we'll continue to do those in upcoming vlogs. Yeah, so stay safe everyone, keep positive, and hopefully we can all get our little bits of freedom back bit by bit until we get back to kind of the new normal, whatever that may be.
Anyway, yeah, take care and we'll see you in the next video.
Oh, coming!
So this is the moment we've been waiting for and the dogs have been waiting for. We can finally unleash the hounds.
Ready to go for a little run? Ready? They're probably too hot to do anything now. Ready, steady, go! Go! Oh.